Hey, this is the HottyToddy chat brought to you by HottyToddy.com. My name is Jack Couch.
This is Adam Brown, the sports editor. Today we're going to look back about the baseball series win over number 13 Maryland. How the Rebels just came back and won the series on the back end with scoring 30 runs in the last two games.
And it was an awesome series to say the least. It was really good to go watch our team go out there and perform. And our bats looked amazing. We had a lot of people step up more than usual. And we just were out there to go be a cohesive team. And it was I was very excited to see how we were going to do this next weekend, or this past weekend. And this was one of our big tests going forward into the game. And basically what we were going to see what was going to happen with our team going forward in the season. It was a good microcosm to see what was going to happen.
Exactly. I mean, just knowing that, okay, we're the hunted this year.
Oh, yeah.
People look at us like we have a target on our back because we are the defending national champions, and which they are. But at the same time, the team is not the same team as it was last year. We've lost pieces of that team, but the pieces that we've gained have made us be more of an offensive power than what we were, or
than what we were last year. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, this year we were looking really good offensively. I mean, we were able to get around on the ball. We were able to call plays, use bunting. Finally, we got to watch. We had bunts. I'm so excited about having bunts. It's such a small part of the game, but we've never been able to bunt the ball ever. And we have it this year, and it's going to be awesome to have going forward, is that we're going to be able to move people around the bases and not have to swing for the fences every time. I'm all good putting, Calvin Harris out there, let him swing for the fences on bases loaded every time of the week. But and then you have to look at Calico, and he was able to crush the ball. He hit one home run this week and was over 500 yards out. I mean, just destroyed, nuked right out of the field. And it was really entertaining to see all our batting. Now, we did have a major problem this weekend, which was pitching. So what are you thinking about that going forward?
I mean, pitching-wise, yes, there is a problem, but we are young into the season where everybody else hasn't the same problem. We're trying to find out where our starters are during this time that we have Elliott down for until we find out when he can come back. You have two pitchers that are back on the team, besides Elliott, that had productive roles in the championship run last year.
Oh, completely agreed. And I'm really excited about our two freshmen coming in, which is Saturday, and it's going to kill me. I know his name.
Grayson Tanya.
Yeah. And then I'm very excited about Xavier. Xavier looked phenomenal. And this weekend, he did put up a bad stat line, and what you see on the box score is not what he really performed. He's a freshman. He ran out of gas. We had him throw 93 pitches, and most of his walks came in the last 2 innings that he was pitching. He threw a lot more than he was ready for the workload to be, and that's just part of learning of where he needs to be going and what that is, and it is early in the season. But he looks great, starting out with 3 strikeouts against a very, very front-loaded Maryland team was awesome to watch. And we can talk about how us and Maryland got a little chippy. I'm really excited about it. I love having this rivalry between us, having a little bit of this Big Ten schedule go through, and that we're going to get chippy and we're going to fight for our team, and it's awesome to have that.
I mean, in the past couple of games, you've actually seen Ole Miss have to play with their chip on their shoulders. Going back to the Arkansas State game, you saw a little bit of chippiness on the field because you are the defending national champions. You are going to get the best of everybody you play.
Yeah, we're everybody's Super Bowl right now.
Right.
That's okay.
That's okay.
It's all good.
But it's a situation of where the offensive power is going to carry the pitching load when we need it to.
Yeah, and our offensive power is really going to be good. So we're really going to be able to outscore people going forward. And just like you're saying, our pitching, we're figuring it out. It's a work in progress deal, and I'm very excited about what potential we have going forward. Now that's saying it's potential right now. It's not that we have studs. It's not that we're the guys on the field like last year. It's not like we have, DeLucia out there and Elliott pitching absolute, heat all the way down through the ninth. It's we have new guys coming in. We got to figure out what we got, what we don't have, where this pitcher's going to go. Rivera, number 13, looked stellar this weekend. I'm excited about him coming through. And he's going to be a very good reliever later in the year, but he's still just so young. It's hard to see where everybody's going to fit in. And that we're hopefully, when Elliott comes back, he's going to have that leadership on the team. Being like, hey, this is what I do. This is what I'm processing. This is what I think about. And we all know Elliott's an amazing pitcher. And he is going to be out for some time, I assume. But we are waiting to see how his leadership's going to affect the other players on the team. I'm really excited about it going forward.
I mean, I think you're right. I think once Elliott comes back, he's going to show leadership on the field. But right now, as he's getting healthy, he's being that extra leadership captain off the field like he was last year.
Yeah, but he's definitely coaching up. I mean, you can see him talk to people and be like, hey, try this, and this, and this might work for you. And having that extra coach there with some, real life experience, just winning a national championship is just a little bit of experience to have. But he's able to get out there and help these younger players figure out what their pitching style is going to be, how they're going to pitch in college, and what looks they're supposed to be doing. And I'm really excited about that. Now, batting wise, I was very excited this weekend. We had 7 home runs.
We had 6 home runs yesterday, 7 over the weekend.
7 over the weekend, yes. And we looked very good, very powerful, very much being able to get through. Every single player I saw go up to bat has that fast twitch. I can get around on the ball and make a play. Now, we know the normal studs, Shanye did very well. TJ McCants did very well. Calvin Harris did very well. But now you look at, Calarco coming in and being able to bat. He's batting, almost
400.
Yeah, almost 400 on the season, and he's crushing it right now. A great addition for the team. Now, he's no Tim Elko yet, but he has the possibility to go up there and be that guy. And he is being a stud this year. I'm really excited about Ledje. Ledje's going out there, and he's able to hit very well. And he's having trouble making connections on the ball, but that happens. And I think that this is just a minor hiccup of him learning how he's going to hit with our team and where he's going to be in rotation, and he's going to be good. Well, I was really excited about Garrett Wood to go out there and hit too. Garrett Wood, our team captain, was able to go out there and bunt and make sure that he's able to work the team. He's no power hitter or, really defense mastermind, but he's able to go out there and make the plays he needs. He's able to help lead this team and going forward. I'm really excited about every player that's on our team right now, hitting wise.
Oh, I am too. There's no player that's on the team that I think won't get the job done once they step into the box.
Oh, completely agreed. If we get, ducks on the pond, we're going to be lights out all season long. And I was so happy. Let's just talking about home runs. I'm so happy that we broke Maryland's streak of grand slams. God, I know that they hit their one on us, but that's all we need. We got it done. It's okay. The streak is over. That's all I wanted. And I'm glad we sent them home packing. And what a domination that we had on Sunday. I mean, we just looked powerful. And it was a little chippy out there. We had 1 ejection. We had multiple challenges. It wasn't as big as Saturday or Friday night's game, fans-wise, but it felt like the Super Bowl out there on the field.
I mean, the temperature was warming in the air because the sun was out for the first time in days. And just the ball, the Swayze was just a launch pad. 10 home runs were hit between the two clubs, and just 6 of them just were by Ole Miss. And just the grand slam that Harris hit, once it left the bat, you were like, okay, ball game.
Yeah, and it was fun watching. What helped us is that they started walking people as much as we were, which helps a lot. And, we walked a good amount of people this weekend, to say it nicely. But going forward, we're not going to have that problem, I don't think. I think that's the number one thing that Coach Mike is going to come out, Coach Bianco is going to come out, be like, hey guys, we're not going to throw walks. I don't care if you leave it over the plate and they get a hit. We have a good enough defensive team to make a play. But we cannot keep walking and throwing wild pitches and hitting and almost balking twice. We need to leave it over, and if they hit a home run, they hit a home run. But we need to be able to we need to be able to throw strikes going forward. And again, our outfield is quick. We have a quick outfield. Only, we have Gonzalez and Chardonnay and even Leje. And they're able to make plays. They're going to be able to do that. And, it's fine if we let up some runs. But if we walk 6 people in a row again, that is a problem pitching. We need to throw it, and if we leave it over in the strike zone, fine. I'm happy if they throw a strike. If it's going to be a strike, if they hit it foul, I don't care. I need them to throw strikes more than just throwing ball after ball after ball.
On that, do you think it's a situation of where the umpires looked at what happened last year with the zone and minimized it or made it bigger to where it affected the game?
I think that this weekend specifically, I think that we had a problem with the umpire's strike zone being very small and low. Because everything that I thought was a strike was high and to the right, on the right corner, top right and top left. I thought they were strikes, but he was calling it, and everything low I thought was a ball were strikes. I think he had a low zone and it was very much tighter. And I'm interested to see this year. We'll start seeing in the games coming forward if it's just a tighter zone, which could definitely be the problem. But even if it is, we still got to close in those, the gaps of having. I saw a stat line that we had 10 balls in a row. That's unbelievable. That's unheard of in baseball. You got to throw with strikes. And again, I don't care if you leave it over the middle. It's just important that you have that ability to throw the strikes. It doesn't. I don't care if you throw a fastball 6 times down the middle and they get hit 2 of them. Whatever. I need them to just make strikes this time. And that comes with pitching, and we, as we said earlier, we have young pitching and young people going into games, and we need to lock up a little bit on the pitching side of things.
Turning the page now, because we know what's coming forward for the Rebels going to a Big Ten series this weekend again. Play Maryland Friday night, then you play Minnesota Saturday and Nebraska Sunday. But when this airs, Ole Miss will have played La Tech twice, so you look forward to the weekend of playing some more Big Ten baseball. But let's move into the basketball side now.
All right.
For the men, you have a situation since we were last on air of where Keith Carter made the decision to mutually separate from Kermit Davis after his 5th season. And then Ole Miss defeats LSU Saturday night.
Yeah, and it's a peculiar situation to say the least. Did we expect to come out and beat LSU? No, but it shows you that we still got a team. We're still going to be competitive. We might not go on a run to the Final Four, even up in the SEC, but it means that we got a competitive team that's still able to compete. And we scored the second highest we've scored in the past since January 24th. We scored 82 points. And that's impressive coming off of your head coach being fired. It shows you that we have the talent. And parting ways with Davis is, it's one of those things that we kind of felt coming. He was not putting up the numbers that he's been promised that he did really since 2019 when we got into the tournament. And that's just part of it. We're this team that's on the downslope, but I'm very excited to see the next chapter of Ole Miss sports going forward, especially basketball-wise. And we need to, just hunker down, figure out the rest of the season, and then going forward, we'll see what Ole Miss decides to do with coaching-wise.
Just going off that, coming into that game, Ole Miss had done well and only lost at the buzzer to where it could be different this
Yeah,
time.
it could have been very different. Yes.
And but the time to come for that to happen, Keith decided to do what was best for the university at that point in time. But just going forward, I mean, the team was ready to.
Ready to rumble, to say the least.
Yeah.
They're able. I think that they're ready to come compete. They've had a. I hate to say this, it just seemed like they had such a more positive energy around them this, past Saturday. And, I don't know if you saw the videos of them in the locker room throwing all the water. It just looked so positive on our team. And I'm excited to have that positivity around next year. And hopefully that means that we're going to keep some of our players that are studs. Ruffin, who's out currently, and hopefully he doesn't hit the portal or other players around him hit the portal. I'm excited that hopefully that we'll keep multiple players around us. I think that we're definitely on a building chapter of basketball right now. But I think with the players that we have and the performance that we're able to give currently, it's going to be so much better going forward for us to make a run, be able to have a good team, and next year be able to have hopefully a positive record. And I know that's asking for a lot, but a positive record is going to be, it's important to have. And it's important to be close. And we went 3-14 in the SEC. That's so poor of us to do. And to have a terrible season back to back where we're the second to last in the SEC, especially going into the tournament. I assume that we're going to play Tennessee.
Probably South Carolina on the opening night.
Say that again?
Probably South Carolina on the opening
South Carolina?
Yep.
So we'll play South Carolina opening night, which, we've beat them once and they beat us once.
Now, if we win that one, we will play Tennessee.
Yeah, I was thinking, we'll go straight into it. I kept thinking, because they got a bye. Okay, that makes way more sense. And in my head, I was thinking, we're going to go right into Tennessee. I'm like, that looks really rough. But, so we got South Carolina ahead of us, and we got A&M tomorrow. Tomorrow we have A&M.
Tomorrow we have A&M. Saturday we go to Missouri.
Yep. So A&M, hopefully we'll see what our team's going to do, because A&M's a very good team. They're going to make the tournament, hopefully, probably as a 9, 10, or 11 seed. They'll be able to perform. They've been able to perform very well at home and away. Their stat lines are pretty much even on the season, home and away. And, you look at what happened this weekend when they played, when they played Auburn this past week. And that Auburn was able to come in and beat them, shows you that I feel like they're running out of steam a little bit. So I'm excited for us to be able to go out there and see what this new team looks like. And it is a new team. It's a completely different vibe, and I'm excited to see what this new team can do. See if we have something that we can make something out of.
I'm like you. I'm very interested to see how these last 3 or 4 games actually play out, to see what kind of energy we play with.
Yeah, going forward in the next season. And we can talk about Coach Yo coming up. Coach Yo has been, and talk about a positive team. They're on a roll. They're looking good, and I'm very excited to see what comes up in the upcoming tournament.
Well, going off of that, Coach Yo brings to the season 11-win SEC season, which that's unreal.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And just to know that you get a double bye going to the tournament, knowing that you won't have to play till Friday afternoon. If you win Friday afternoon, you get another shot at South Carolina on Saturday. And
that's all we could ask for right now. We want it. I know that everybody in our team, that's such a cliche thing to say in sports, is that we want it. This team wants to go out there. They have been grinding. I mean, one of the most intense training programs I've seen on a women's basketball team. They are able to go out there, perform, grind, and then even that, be emotional and have fun at the same time. It's such a positive team. And you look at that team, and it makes me just think of how accountable everybody is for each other. And that's something that Coach Yo is bringing to this university, is accountability. She goes baseball and supports baseball, softball, football, men's basketball. She's able to bring accountability from different sports, being like, hey, look at us. We're trying our hardest. We're going to make a run on the season, y'all need to be trying just as hard as we are. And that positivity and just how great that team's going to be. And I'm very excited to see if we get a shot against South Carolina again. That's all I can hope for.
Which, I mean, a shot at South Carolina again would be awesome because it's overtime last time.
Oh, God, yeah.
And just knowing the fact that come after this week, they're going to go somewhere in the NCAA tournament.
Oh, yeah.
And knowing the type of players that we have and the grit they play with, the run to the NCAA tournament will be fun to watch.
Yes, and it will be. And I'm excited. And you look at, especially South Carolina, as a great example for us of just, we went to overtime. We played our hearts out. We were able to just compete with a team that's been undefeated for almost 2 seasons. They are able to just go in here and be a dominant team on the court, on and off the court essentially. But they are able to go out there and they have this chip on their shoulder being like, hey, we're number 4 in the SEC. We're going to come in here and we're going to show you that we're supposed to be number 1. And you have LSU and South Carolina. Both are also going to make runs in the tournament.
And Tennessee.
And Tennessee, yeah. And Tennessee's also over there. And they're all going to go deep in the tournament, I assume. Statistically, they are. But I'm excited to see what we can perform. And we're not all statistics. That's what's great about our team.
Right.
We have that energy around us that we can go far, we can go our statistics and further. Which, with our chip on the shoulder, with us being able to compete with all these phenomenal teams, I'm just excited to see what we're going to do going forward into the tournament.
No doubt, because, it's one of those situations to where we put a chip on our shoulder, but the chip comes from the defensive style that we play with.
Yes.
A mentality of, you've got to get past us to score.
Yeah.
Which is just, we've kept teams up under their average every game except 1.
Yeah, and it's very it's awesome to have us or to watch us perform here, and everybody's been calling it around, my friends at least, they've been calling it the land shark defense.
Yeah,
because that's what it is. We're holding people. We are able to stand up, be like, hey, that's you. You got to get through me if you want to score. And They'll take that foul. They'll take the hit. They'll stand there and hold their ground the entire way, and it's awesome to see that. And the land shark defense on a little bit of a basketball unit's awesome to have as well. Just really holding strong to our name of a defensive school. And even though it hasn't looked like that on football recently, it's definitely looking like that on the basketball court. Even men's has been a very grand defensive team this year.
It has. It's one of those situations to where no matter who we play or how many points we score, our defense has always kept us in the game.
Yeah.
To where a bucket here, a bucket there could be different.
Yep, completely agreed. I'm going forward. I'm excited to see how Texas and Oklahoma are going to start shaking things up. So you have them coming in, and we're going to get a massive pay raise going forward here, and it's going from $38 million to $52.5. Something around that. 55
55-ish.
Yeah, something around there. But that's a massive pay jump every year. And having them come in and having our sports and with NIL, it's a big deal going forward. Especially that NIL is looking like it's going to stick around as long as there's college now. This is just how it's going to be. I don't think we're going to change anybody's mind, and that's just what's going to happen. So I'm excited to see what football is going to do with their schedule, with basketball, what baseball is going to do. Because now that you have these 2 new schools coming in, you're going to have to rearrange a lot of things.
Yeah, when you talk about schedule, it's one of those situations to where do you go to the 1-7 model or do you go to a 30-36?
Yeah, and that's the key question right now, is that nobody knows, and you could go to a pod system as well with have 4-4-4 and work it out and do that, or you can go to a system where there is no division at all, and you take the best 2 teams and you're like, hey, you 2 are going to come play in the SEC, and that could be LSU and Alabama now. It could be Georgia and Florida. It can be Ole Miss and Mississippi State. just really cause some trouble and havoc over in Atlanta. But I'm excited to see what's going to go forward. I'm really excited about baseball because adding Texas and Oklahoma to our baseball roster, I mean, we are looking phenomenal baseball-wise. You have Ole Miss, LSU, A&M, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Texas.
Yep.
I mean, 8 schools. Half of our schools will be ranked probably in the top 25 every year going forward.
If not top 15.
If not top 15. And that's,
Yeah.
And then you have schools like Georgia, who's on the up and up, Florida, who's on the up and up. Even you look at, do you look down and around near Auburn? Auburn can make it happen every once in a while.
Oh, yeah. And you look back last year when we went to Omaha, if Oklahoma was with us then, 7 of 8 teams were from the SEC.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's awesome about what's going forward. And that we're going to be such a dominant division is going to be really very entertaining to watch going forward. And you look at basketball, we're going to have more basketball events, and you're going to take out some of those cupcake games early in the year, which is fine. Probably going to hurt us for a couple of years, but you had Texas and Oklahoma going into Ole Miss, going into Oxford, and being able to perform in basketball. It's really exciting to see what's going forward. And not only that, the networks that we're going to be able to. So if you don't know, ESPN is in talks with Texas right now that SEC network will have an SEC Network East and an SEC Network West, which will take the Texas Longhorn Network and turn it into a new network where we can have 2 sides of the SEC. So essentially what happens with that is that you will have almost triple the amount of games, because right now you can get games on SEC Plus. So you'd get 1 basketball game, and you can get SEC Network, which holds the highlight of the SEC going on at that point. But now that you have these 2 networks, you can have baseball and basketball. You can have basketball and basketball. You can have football and football. And what's really cool about it is that if you go back and look at the games that were not televised out of the 16 teams to be, you will have a station for every team in the SEC to play on live TV that anybody can get with YouTube TV, Hulu, Comcast, any of it. You will always have SEC. You'll be able to see your team play no matter what, which is truly impressive going forward.
Now, this is just an off-the-wall question. Do you think these 16 teams that we're at now, that we will be next year, is that it? Or do you see us going to 20?
I can see us going to 20. I can see us going to 22. I can see us going to 24.
I see us going to 20 and stopping.
I could see that,
for
but
a while.
Then I'm like, well, at this point, we had 20. Let's just make the SEC its own league itself. And I get, let's have 20, so you'd have SEC, Big Ten, Pac-12, maybe ACC. Those would be, you'd go to 4. You wouldn't have 5 anymore, it'd be 4. Especially if you go to 20. And it's looking like that's the way it's going to go right now. You still have the Sun Belt and the Mac-10 and other conferences like that, but you would only have 4. You'd have a Power 4, essentially. And the question is, who'd you bring in? You'd bring in Florida State, Clemson, Georgia Tech, Tulane. That could be it would be pretty much, you take it from SEC or ACC.
Yeah.
And that's the people that I could see us bringing in later on. And the question is, if I'm going forward, man, if I already have all these 20 teams, let's go get Notre Dame, let's go get Ohio State, and let's get Michigan State. 24. And that's, just the powerful conference. That's the question of where's the money going to be and how is that going to work and all of that. But I'm interested to see if we are able to move forward like that, bring more teams in and bring us into the fold. And I say Georgia Tech and Tulane because they were SEC members. And I think that our hand extends to them first if we go to 24.
Right.
And
I do too. I think you have to go back to the original conference itself, but technically you can't do that because a couple of our members are not D1 anymore. But
yeah, exactly. But you look especially at Tech. Tech would be a great great school to bring into the fold. They are an academic powerhouse. Them and Vanderbilt would be very much of a powerhouse that we can have for the SEC, which would bring us academically very well up. And on top of that, Georgia Tech is a damn good baseball team, and they're on the up and up on football, and they're, you know.
Do you go get Georgia Tech now? No, not Georgia Tech, but Florida State, or do you go get Notre Dame and just take them away from the Big Ten?
That's the $1 million question right now. Is that are you going to go to the if you do go to the ACC, we can go fight with the ACC for Florida State. We can go get Notre Dame, who's playing, who doesn't want to be a part of anybody. They're like, hey, how much you making right now? Oh, we make blah, blah, blah. All right, keep your network. We'll pay you this much more, and then you come to the SEC. And that's the question of how is that deal going to work. I think it would just be easier personally to go deal with the ACC as a collective as a whole. And I would go to Florida State, Clemson, Georgia Tech, and, that kind of series. And that's the problem going forward, is that it's so delicate that it's hard to make things like this happen. I could see it happening. Realistically, it's probable to happen, but I don't see the way to do it currently as the way things are. It's just such a hard thing to do as a conference to conference, making deals like that. Look at how long it's taken for Oklahoma and Texas and how much of a struggle it's been. Sure, the payoffs are very beneficial. It's going to be awesome. I am very thoroughly excited.
But to go off that, the ACC is under a contract until 2036.
Yeah.
So you're basically, the rights to that are astronomically high.
Yeah.
To where I see that they're making $17 million a year, just roughly, at a school. And when they look over here and see 55, how you compete?
Yeah, and that you have, Vanderbilt football going and making 55, and you're Florida State and Clemson, true blue bloods, and you're like, man, crud.
Yeah. Yeah.
How am I not doing this right? And that's the problem of ACC versus SEC, Big Ten versus ACC, and ACC versus Pac-12. Everybody has different. The SEC just means more, and people care, and more watching it. And you look at the only game that was on the top 10 most viewed games of the 2022 season was Ohio State, Michigan. That's the only one that was, besides playoffs, that was the only game in the top 10 highest rating games of the regular season. And they were 8th. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was.
it's a crazy statistic to have.
But you look at that also, in the number 8 game that was watched was Alabama Ole Miss.
Exactly. And Ole Miss is, we're starting to cause some trouble. And you have Alabama. People are going to watch Alabama.
Yeah.
Every day of the week, they're going to be like, hey, yeah, Alabama's playing. Oh, yeah, let's go watch Alabama. Georgia's playing. Let's go watch Georgia. Ole Miss is starting to be one of those teams that's like, oh, hey, Ole Miss is going to beat, Alabama might beat Alabama this weekend. They're going to put up a fight. It's not like, in Tennessee, Alabama, one of the biggest watched games. It's starting to be where you're starting to see the lines divide, even the SEC of, hey, this team's going to be good, and they're going to be great, and they're going to be greater. And you start to look at the NIL, and just, this is the time where if you're going to be good at any sport, you are recruiting, because you're going to build a monopoly on players.
Right.
And that's what's going to happen going forward. And Ole Miss is starting to have that shape around them of, hey, we're going to be a competitive team going forward. We're a conference title team. We're a national championship team going forward. And with our NIL and all the money coming in, it's all about money in the end. And having players come and looking and seeing that we have money. You look at Alabama or LSU, they have money. They've always had money. Now you have a smaller school, the second smallest school in the SEC coming out here and being very dominant in sports in general. We're starting to build a name for ourselves out for recruits.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a situation to where you have Ole Miss, State, LSU, any of the 14 traditional schools.
Yeah.
now Texas and Oklahoma coming in, they're just going to take a step. And it's going to be really interesting for us and them both to travel to different.
Oh, to have, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know multiple people that go to Oklahoma and Texas. They're like, oh, we're going to Grove.
Yeah.
As soon as it happens, I mean, it's a destination here. And that first Texas-Oklahoma game at home for Ole Miss might be the attendance record for Ole Miss ever. They might still standing room. And if we're still as good as we are, and Texas and Oklahoma are still Texas as good as they were last year, Oklahoma are as good as they were 2 years ago, I mean, they're going to travel. And those are two blue bloods. They're going to travel. They're going to be loud. They're going to be awesome. And that energy coming into the SEC is going to be phenomenal to have going forward. And that's just, it's just what it is. And everybody wants to see the growth. And I'm excited about us being rearranged, is that students are going to be able to go and see different schools going forward. I grew up a UGA fan, and the last time that UGA played Ole Miss was 5 years ago, and it was at Ole Miss. The last time that we played, Between the Hedges was
11, 10?
12, 2011. I mean, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
To have. And we play them next year, finally. So it's the long run, but you're going to be able to go, hey, we play you every 4 years. It might not be the 12 years that it was, but it'd be 4 years. Or, hey, we want this game over here. We want to go play in Austin. We want to go play, in College Station. We want to go play in Gainesville. And that's what's exciting about going forward, is that you're going to be able to go have these games more often than not.
Well, I mean, exactly like what you're saying. You have players who come to the SEC and play in these venues that are on TV, unbelievable, and on TV as spectacular. They have not even seen all 14.
Yeah, haven't had a chance to go see all the stadiums.
Right.
And you look at like us playing Tennessee 2 years ago. 2 years. Was it last year? Last year. Last year. Sorry. Yeah, old.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go watch this in Nayland. I might not get this for another 12 years.
Yeah.
I'm going. Doesn't matter. And my buddies were like, why are you going to Tennessee? I'm like, we might not do this for another 12 years. I'm going to go do it now while I don't get mugged on the side of the road as a 34-year-old man.
Right.
That's getting off topic, rough place. Anyway, but you get to go and you make that decision. You're like, hey, this is the one. Next year, I know everybody and their grandma from Ole Miss is traveling to Athens, because that's an important place to go see. Athens as a town is amazing. Their football needs no introduction, and their stadium broke the record this year for the loudest stadium the loudest stadium ever in the NCAA, and then broke it again against Tennessee. It's just an atmosphere where you're like, hey, yeah, I want to go. And now that you have these teams coming in, you're able to rearrange it to where you can go all the time. So just going forward, very exciting things happening for the season.
No doubt. Appreciate the week. Just looking forward to doing it next week.
Oh, yeah, I'm very excited. Watch out for baseball, watch some basketball, and we'll be here next week.
All right. See y'all then. Welcome back into the news part of HottyToddy Chat. We bring in Alyssa, the news editor of HottyToddy.com. Alyssa, how's it going this week in news?
Hello. It's pretty slow news week. It's what it's like a fifth week of the month, even though it's kind of like a half a week, but it means there's no real meetings or anything that are scheduled. So it tends to be a little bit quieter week out of the month. But we did start the week off with the arraignments on Monday. Felony court has their arraignments are like 3 times a year, and that follows a grand jury indictment. So, somebody gets arrested, they're charged by the police with a felony. Then they have to present the case to a grand jury. The grand jury then decides if there's enough evidence to go ahead with the prosecution. However, the evidence that is needed to get an indictment is much less than what is needed for conviction. It's not the same standard. So, just because you get indicted does not mean that there's necessarily enough proof that somebody is guilty or innocent. Just means that there's enough there that they can move forward with the case.
So this might be a question. If a person is charged, then indicted, how long from the indictment before they go to the grand jury, or is that just pushed out? Can that be pushed into the future, or how does that work?
You mean after how long after they're indicted before they go to trial, or how long after they're arrested before they get indicted?
Right, how long before they
Well,
get
it used to
indicted?
be pretty quick. So, if you were arrested in June, you were usually put up before the grand jury, the next grand jury, which might be August. But, and that's where I'm kind of headed with this. One of the cases that was not on the docket Monday was that of Sheldon Timothy Harrington Jr., which you remember has been arrested and charged in the death of Jimmy J. Lee, who went missing in July.
Right.
His body has still not been found, but he is presumed dead. And Harrington was charged with his murder. But that was back in July, and he still has not been indicted. Now, it was somewhat expected that the case would go before the grand jury earlier this month, but it did not. And investigators haven't really gone into detail about that. But from what I'm hearing around the courthouse, it's a lot of it is due to the crime lab backup.
Okay, because that was going to be my next question, like what has the lab come up with?
Yeah, that's the thing is the crime lab in Mississippi. I think there's like one, and it's super backed up. And I've noticed that there's some other cases that should have, I would think, would have gone before the grand jury also, that have not, including the two that were charged with that hit and run of the Ole Miss student.
Oh yeah.
They haven't been indicted either yet that I know of. Now they can hold a special grand jury. So if OBD decides, okay, we got our results back from the crime lab, they can apply to have a special grand jury that would take place before the next scheduled one, which would probably, right now I think the next one is going to be around June or July. So, and someone who talked to me off the record said, in the case of Timothy Harrington, it's likely that a special grand jury will be called.
Okay.
So we'll probably see that here in the next month or so.
So if a grand jury is called, does that have to be held here in Lafayette County?
Yeah, it'll
or-
be held here.
Okay.
Yeah, grand jurors are different than regular jurors. Like if you get called for jury duty, it's like a one and done. It's one case that you have to sit on, and sometimes you don't even have to, because if the person pleads guilty or whatever last minute. But if you serve on the grand jury, you serve for like a whole year,
Right.
and you have to meet 3 or 4 times a year, and go over these cases, hundreds and hundreds. Now you're only, again, deciding if there's enough evidence to just proceed. You're not, examining all of the evidence
Right.
that you would in a regular, but it's still a lot of work. So, and that's all quote unquote voluntary. I mean, you just like any jury, you get selected to do it. You can try to get out of it if you have a hardship, but if you know anybody who's on the serving on a grand jury, tell them thank you for your service, because that's a pretty big commitment for a year, but maybe kind of fun, I think.
It would be, depending on the case you get.
Yeah. And so unfortunately, Jay Lee's family still not able to lay their loved one to rest, or, get any justice, out of this case. and I'm sure Harrington's family is feeling this weight of not progressing one way or another. You know, it's sure it's frustrating for his family as well. But you know, we'll see how that goes. The Oxford Film Festival started Wednesday, and so that's in full swing. That's kind of a little bit less depressing.
Well, I mean, also it just brings so many tourists to Oxford.
Yeah,
during
I'm
this
sure
weekend.
everybody has noticed more traffic. And you know, I did a story earlier this week where I talked to some of the filmmakers, and they're really super excited about coming to Oxford. And some of the films really sound like they're going to be pretty neat. So that continues today throughout the weekend. There's a lot of fun events going on. There's panels, parties.
Now, are the films and stuff going to happen at the old Malco Theater, which is at the Jack, also at the new Malco Theater over there at the Commons?
Yeah, they are. They could be at the Lyric. They could be at Malco. So you really both Malco. So it's really best to just you know, go on to their website and see, you know, read about the movies and see where they're playing. I mean, some of them are I think even or something. I thought maybe even going on like at the Powerhouse too.
Right.
So the website is ox-film.com, and that will give you all the information you need to know for the next few days, and you know, sign up, get some. It's a little too late for this year, but next year another really fun thing to do is to volunteer for the film festival, because I know they always need a lot of volunteers, and then if you volunteer, you often get to watch some of this stuff for free or go to the parties.
I
So
know.
that's
I know.
a fun time.
I know with it going on now. Is it too late for people to just buy like a pass for the rest of the time it's going on?
I don't know. Let me look while we're sitting here. I think you could still buy passes. Now, I mean, you might still wind up having to pay, depending on how quickly you buy them, because you still have most of today, all day Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so it might still be worth. You know, you can get a daily pass for 20 bucks.
Right, which is not bad.
Yeah, so I mean, you could do it that way as well. But
Yeah.
it's fun, and you see some great films, and you see some maybe, you know, some local stars, like you never know who might pop in there. I know in the past, I think Morgan Freeman has showed up. Joey Lauren Adams has been there. These are just off the top of my head that I can remember seeing. But then of course we have some of our own local actors, the McPhails.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're always fun. Anyway, you know, ox-film.com will get you all the information you need. And on top of that, it's supposed to be lovely weather this weekend. Now tonight, we could get some serious storms as per usual this time of year. So keep an eye on HottyToddy's Facebook page, Twitter. You know, I'll post whatever warnings or watches that come through, if any. But as of right now, you know, there is a good chance of some severe thunderstorms this evening and this afternoon, actually. It's just going to be a nasty day all around. So, but that's going to start clearing up on Friday. And Saturday is expected to be sunny with a high near 60. And Sunday is mostly clear with a high near 63. So a little crappy today, getting a little bit better Friday. Well, very crappy today. And better Friday, but Saturday and Sunday look to be glorious.
That's good because there's going to be things to do with Archer Swim Fest. You can go outside, hang with family. As the baseball team is off to Minneapolis, to Minnesota this weekend. The basketball team to Missouri. The women's team is gone to play the SEC tournament. And the softball team will be taking on the
Got that crud. Spring is coming.
Yes, we'll be hosting the Ole Miss Classic starting Friday at 3:30 with Missouri State, Mount St. Mary's coming, and SEMA, all weekend. So
Here?
Here.
Well, it'll be fun.
That'd be fun for somebody to go do.
People need to, a little more support on our softball and some of our, because I mean, our girls are kicking. Look at our women's I mean, I'm not a sports guy. You guys already did that, but look at our girls, our lady rebels basketball, and so and the softball. Have they started already? Didn't they
Oh, they
win?
have. They've.
Are they winning a little bit?
They're winning. They have a overall record of 9-6.
Okay.
They spent a week and a half in Mexico, so that was fun for them.
Oh wow. Okay.
So yep.
Alrighty. Well, if nothing else, just throwing a blanket outside and having a picnic because it's going to be a nice one.
It really is. So stay tuned over the weekend to HottyToddy.com for your latest on everything from sports to news. Look forward to talking to you soon. Have a good weekend.
Bye.